What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Cleveland Terry, and today we're going to be reviewing the TMA2 headphones from the good folks at AiAiAi. Now, I think that's how you pronounce it because that's what it says on the box. AiAiAi. I think I'm pronouncing it right, but if I'm not, then I'm wrong. Now, this is a modular headphone system. What does that mean? We're going to talk about it now. Let's go. All right, so this company kind of came out of nowhere. I saw them at NAMM, and I was able to test these headphones then, and I was impressed by them then. I'm impressed by them now. But why am I impressed is the question. That's what we're going to talk about. All right, so before we get into the details of what I like about these, I think it's important that we talk about the differences between the different latencies of certain wireless protocols. We have obviously wired, which is zero latency. Then we have Bluetooth, and then we have kind of this proprietary dedicated wireless system here. There's a big difference, and there's a lot of reasons why people that have Bluetooth headphones, you can't DJ with them. The delay is just too strong. But I want to kind of simulate what the delay is so you guys can get a better understanding of why, which at under 10 milliseconds, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between wired or not. But I want to show you via your ears so you can see what I'm talking about here. So this is my DaVinci Resolve timeline. Now, every frame has a certain delay when you nudge it forward or backwards. We're going to get a little nerdy with you right now. But in general, the average Bluetooth runs at about a 200 to 300 millisecond delay, which is substantial. Now, they have come up with new protocols, getting it down to as low as like 35 milliseconds, 35 to 40, which is still pretty much unusable from a DJ perspective. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drag this file down so we have duplicates. Obviously, as I just said before, it's not going to do anything, but that's the original.
It used to be your hobby.
Bring down the second.
It was just something you did for fun.
And it just makes it louder, okay? Because it's zero latency. We're going to take the same file and we're going to then apply the formula on a 24 frames per second timeline based upon a 200 millisecond delay. It's about 5 frames, okay? So we're going to take this file right here underneath and we're going to bump it 5 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
It becomes a job. It used to be your hobby, or maybe it was just something you did for fun, but then it turns into work.
So you can see that that's unusable from a DJ perspective. Now, because we're going to be nudging from a 1/10 perspective, we're only going up 7 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's 8 frames. We can even give the benefit of the doubt and say 9 because they did say under 10 frames, under 10 milliseconds. Okay, so we'll just do one more. We'll do 9, just in case it's having a bad day. Here we go.
It becomes a job. It used to be your hobby, or maybe it was just something you did for fun, but then it turns into work.
So as you can hear in there, that's absolutely usable. And that's again at 9, and they did say under 10, so we can go ahead and bump 1 back and bring it down to 8.
It becomes a job. It used to be your hobby, or maybe it was just something you did for fun.
Now that's negligible. And of course it's extreme because obviously I'm showing you with 2 different files. You're not going to be experiencing that. You're going to be hearing just the sound coming out of your headphones. So basically anything that is slightly delayed, that's the same thing as like in Serato, as you can see here. It goes all the way up to 20 milliseconds. Okay. So they're saying that you can DJ properly all the way up to 20 milliseconds, anything above that, and it's going to start to affect your performance. Running at under 10 milliseconds, it's going to feel like you're just DJing the way you normally do. Now, having said that, I want to talk a little bit about how it came in the box. Okay. Now you notice it did say modular headphone system. So when I got them in the box, they came in all of these packs right here. And every pack has a different thing. This is the EO2. This is leather on ear. Okay. This is the EO4. This is the leather over ear. All right. This is the cable. This is the band on top and a pouch. And then the actual transmitter that goes into your mixer and into your headphones. Okay, so the actual transmitter is very, very small. Okay, and with the cable and the adapter is actually lighter than the one that comes from Alpha Theta. Okay, not to say there's anything wrong with that, but it is lighter, and that's one of the aspects that I think makes it a good selling unit, because the weight of the entire product, meaning on my head and on here, you don't even realize that they're in your bag. You don't realize that they're on your head, because legitimately, I had them on over the weekend and I had them sitting like this, right? And I was kind of running around doing my thing. And at a certain point, I'm like, where are my headphones? Where am I? And I'm looking around for my headphones. They're on top of my head. So that should tell you just how light they are. Now, obviously, if you're going to put on, the H DJs from Pioneer, these are beefy headphones. Okay. You can feel them. They're weighty. They sound great. I'm not saying they don't, but when we're DJing, obviously the more weight we have on us, the more uncomfortable we are. So if they can make something lighter, make something lighter. Okay. So in the box, you get all of those things. Now, they did send me both the over-the-ears and the on-ears. It appears that on-ears come with them by default, but you can upgrade to the over-the-ears for a very small fee. I mean, I think it's like $40 to get new cups, and they're interchangeable. So if you want to jump back and forth, you can. But what's important about this is you're able to adjust. Okay. If there's something you don't like, right? Oh, I wanted them to be over the ear. You just take it off and you pop the other one on like so. Now you got over the ears. Just having that option, having the ability to remove the plug. I did not want to do that. And then just take it apart. Legitimately take it apart. Okay. So now you have all these, and obviously they don't fold. So maybe being able to take them apart will be good for a lot of people. But if you have a headphone that is busted, maybe blown out, right? You can just get a new one of these and swap it out. If some new technology or some new headphones come out, maybe you just want to upgrade that. You can just upgrade that. The sound and everything is in here. So that makes for a very, very functional. Now, the other headphone did move to the side, so let me grab that. Okay, so as far as the sound, because I think we should talk about the sound. Now, when I first received these, I didn't love them. I said, it's a very flat sound. They don't really impress me at all. And I had to call my good friend Mojax, and I'm embarrassed for even saying this on screen. And he says to me, "Did you use the app?" And I said, "The app?" So I was just gung ho and just trying to get everything done. But yes, there is an app from, Google Store, from the Apple Store, and then you can literally connect your product. Okay. And then you can adjust the frequencies coming from this headphones. Now you have firmware, and then you have your sound profiles. So I go into my sound profiles. You can see how I've adjusted. I actually have adjusted on listening. I prefer that sound, but you can go back to balanced. You can go back to bass focus. You can go to custom and do your own, or you can go listening, and then you can flip it from DJ to studio and then make the same detailed adjustments, which I think is just brilliant. Sound wise, after I made the adjustments, I was very happy with the sound. The bass is good. The mids, it has really good mids and highs in there, but it's really got good bass in here. What I would say though is when I put it on bass focused, it was fine up until a certain level. And then I did start to hear a little bit of distortion. So I think the listening one for me is the perfect setting. And then I could crank those things up even if I wanted to, and they were just fine. With the headphones, as you can see right here, it's on blue right now. In order to get to the wireless protocol, the Wi-Fi protocol, so you can get on this guy, you have to double click it. and then it turns white. Once it's white, now it's connected to here. You don't have to do any other pairing. It just connects on its own. I don't recall having to do a pairing. I think I just turned it on. Once it connects, it'll go solid on both of them. That's how you know they're connected. Now, I do have a gripe about this particular box. Not the box, just the cord. It's a little bit on the short side. I would have preferred it to be a little longer because obviously if you're like using, I don't know, an S11 and then CDJ 3000s, or you're using turntables, or you're using a 900 or an A9 or something like that. And this is sticking on top. This is not long enough, this cord, to kind of move it so it's on the ground or move it to the behind. I would have preferred a longer cable. Now on the site, they do have a longer version of these. It's just not in the default package system. So you can upgrade them. Again, non-proprietary, so you don't need to go through them. But I mean, it's a cool yellow cable. So there's that. But besides that, it was rock solid. I've been using these things for the past couple of weeks and they have been great. Not a single cutout. The battery lasts forever on both of these. I mean, I think it's something like 20 hours on the headphones and 10 hours on this box right here. Like it's crazy how long they last. Also, another one of my slight issues with it. And again, sound is subjective and so is feel. Okay. So what I'm telling you applies to me only, but it might apply to you too. I found for some strange reason that using the on-ear cups versus the over-the-ear cups, the sound was louder. Okay. Anytime I put these on, I felt like I was losing a few decibels. And it's not that they're too far away because you're still getting the same part when it's in your ear, but they just weren't as loud as on ear. So I prefer to use them with the on ear. They work better for me. The volume's louder. The comfort's about the same. Actually, I would say the comfort's better because these pads are really, really good. Obviously the over the ear, you're going to have to find a place, like if you're wearing a hat or you're wearing glasses, like all of these things kind of get in the way. But with the on ears, literally, they just sit right on your ears. And I love the sound that's coming out of them. Okay, let's talk about the features. Now, as far as the Bluetooth in these headphones are concerned, this is kind of a no frills Bluetooth. Yes, it's in there. Yes, it works well. But because of the very limited nature of the headphones, like there's really only one button, you are limited to what you can do with it. So the button pauses and plays the music. There's no track changing. There's no volume increasing or decreasing. You are stuck having to use whatever mobile device or whatever laptop you have paired to. Is it the end of the world? No, because these are really supposed to be designed for DJing, for production, for studio work. And that's not the kind of stuff that you're going to be using Bluetooth for. But in a pinch, they absolutely do work in Bluetooth mode, and you get the same distance of about 90 feet as with any other Bluetooth. They do a good job. They sound great. I have no issue with that. As far as the band is concerned, very flexible, very stretchy. You know, it's got a lot of movement, so you can really get that comfort level, as you can see here. They don't fold in, okay? So you're going to have to account for that in your bag, that they will not fold in. I don't think that's that big of a deal because they are so small and they are so light. I literally just tossed them in the bag, and it is a plastic all around. You know, there's no real metal on here, which is why they are so light. I didn't even talk about the most important thing, and that's the price. So typically speaking, for a wireless headphone, you know, the ones that have been out from other competitors like Alpha Theta, you're looking at, you know, a plus $500 headphone. These are coming in at $299. They have a trade-in program for the modular pieces of your headphone. So let's say you just didn't like the over the ears, or you didn't like the on ears and you wanted to upgrade. You're actually allowed to take these, send them back. They will give you a credit on the purchase of your updated headphones. That's something that nobody's doing in this industry. The trade-in program is, with the amount of money that we spend on a yearly basis, it would be great if all of these companies would support DJs the way AiAiAi is doing it. Because we buy gear left and right. Every so often a new piece of gear comes up and we're like, we just bought this like 6 months ago, but that's the one I wanted. And you're unable to do that because there are no buybacks. So I appreciate having a fair buyback program, and it's going to do wonders for the longevity of these headphones. So a good wireless headphone with good sound and just very, very small, and you can just throw it in your bag and it's easy. The sound is great. As far as the distance between how far you can go with these headphones, in general, I find, and look, again, this is not a scientific thing, okay? But in general, I have found when I was using them this weekend, I can get probably about 30 to 50 feet. So obviously less than like a Bluetooth protocol, which is about 90 feet, but delay, obviously. I'm very comfortable being able to move around a stage, move around a dance floor, do my thing, because I'm not trying to take these outside. I've been very, very impressed by these. I'm an in-ear guy. So you guys know I wear in-ears. That's been my thing because I wear different types of hats and glasses. And these are the first headphones that I actually said I could see myself using because they are that comfortable. They don't feel like they're on your head. They're just really, really good. Also, if you are like into production, like you're a music guy, you're a music producer, you know, you're working on Ableton or your MPC Live, this is the first time you could actually use it. And having something like this where you can kind of, you know, walk around in your studio, continue to make music and, you know, listen to it as you go, not have to take your headphones off. You can wear them for long periods of time and you don't get ear fatigue and they don't feel like they're pressing in on your temples. That is like a godsend. Because sometimes I know it's stupid, but just having to plug in your headphones in the back of your device and now you're limited to what you can do is very annoying when you're making music. So, and they do have a dedicated studio version of these too. But I have nothing negative to say about these headphones. They're really good. So if you are looking at new headphones and you're thinking about what you want to get, do you want to go and get like, you know, the Alpha Thetas and you pay over $500, or you grab these, which still has a really, really great sound for $300, and you will know that if something ever goes wrong, you break the band, you step on it, the band snaps, you break the headphone, your ear cup is given out. You can replace all of these things because they're modular, and there's something to be said about that. I like this company. I like what they're doing. They have some desktop speakers also that are also wireless protocol, you know, like this guy right here. And I'm going to see if I can get some of those too. Because I was impressed when I was at the Serato booth at NAMM. All right, guys, if you found what I said here useful, hit that like button. If you found what I said here really useful, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on the Instagrams and the Twitters. Get on my Discord because that's where we're talking about all things Cleveland. Terry, guys, girls, always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, we'll talk soon. Peace.